Good morning, everybody. I'm Tlish, and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. I just wanted to thank everybody that's viewing on YouTube, at home, or wherever you are viewing Coffee and Clicks and tuning in every so often. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content and enjoy today's episode of Coffee and Clicks. Hi, I'm Tlish, and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. Today we're joined with Aries Edge from the popular Dishin Up Clix. Hi, Aries.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, getting golf course Aries today. Just got off the golf course, so I'm not wearing my usual hoodie that I wear when I'm doing dishes. I'm wearing a polo, so it's awkward. But hey, it is what it is.
So, yeah. So tell us, Aries, how'd you start getting into Heroclix originally?
Originally, I had played Mage Knight. The start. It was one of their first games I played when I was like a senior in high school. It was just I don't know a bunch of buddies from high school were playing, and I got into it and fell out of it quickly. My brother, well, I call him my brother. He's my best friend. I was hanging out with him one day and we were talking, and he was I made mention. I was like, yeah, I used to play this miniature game, and then they made like a Marvel DC version. And he literally was like, hold on a second. He went into the other room, came out, and he had a Rubbermaid tote full of them. And he was like, these are all extras. Grab everything that you want. I probably grabbed 100 or 200 Heroclix that day. And from that point on, I've just been playing on and off since then. I think the first set that I bought into was Legacy, to actually buy boosters and play with them. So yeah, I was just kind of happenstance that I was talking to someone who knew exactly what I was talking about, and I've just been playing ever since.
So, you've been playing pretty much from the beginning, and then also, just for people who don't know, Mage Knight was like the precursor to Heroclix, right? That was like a game
Yeah,
that.
it was the their one of their first I guess click style games, their mechanic games. It was kind of almost like Dungeons and Dragons. You had different factions, and you couldn't really break factions. You had to play with those. They had front and back arcs, so you could only shoot out of the arcs. Like you didn't have 360 degrees for line of fire. There was no maps at the time, so you were playing almost on like a 40K kind of style uh, tabletop. You had your own terrain and stuff like that. Your line of fire was actually inches and it wasn't squares. So yeah, it was. They polished it and they brought out Heroclix. They brought out a couple other things too, like Sports Clicks was the thing for a while, and this is all back when Tops owned the company as well.
So
So they tried.
Tops owned Mage Knight, and then they created Heroclix. It was the same
Tops
company.
owned that Mage Knight, Mech Warrior, Sports Clicks, I believe, was one of the ones that they had, and there was, I think, a fifth one. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they had a good handful of clicks mechanic style games that they were trying out. But HeroClix is the one that really took off and people kind of gravitated towards more than anything.
So, what do you think? Like if you look at the game now, what do you like about it? Like, what appeals you to this game?
I mean, what appeals is that they're trying to always get better. They're trying to continually uh, make the game appealing to casual players, but also competitive players. Somebody the other day made a comment about how the team up cards was a money grab, but if you excuse me, if you look at it, it's not really a money grab, I guess. If you want to be a collector, sure, it's going to be hard to collect them all. We get that. But it's also, it gives you, the casual player, a little something extra to play with. And if you're a competitive player, there are maybe 2, 3 cards out there that are very good or could be very good. We don't really know yet. because we haven't had that much exposure to them. I mean, we do have the online tournaments and stuff, but you only get so much out of them. And really, we haven't seen too many of the Amazos played with the team up cards. So it's just a new mechanic that people are playing, and they constantly are introducing things like that to keep the game fresh. ID cards are finally rotating out, and we're getting some other new mechanics rotating in. So they're giving enough content and they're giving enough variety that they're continually making the game, which is the same, but also make it feel different, I guess, is a way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think they're always making the game feel different from what it was before, introducing new elements, getting rid of elements, and then introducing new elements like they did with the ID cards. You know, the ID cards have had their time. I mean, I personally, I wasn't really totally against. I know a lot of people are against ID cards, but I mean, they've had their day in the sun. I feel like, but like now with team up cards, it's a new element, and I think it makes the game fun. You know, having new elements in the game.
It's giving you a little extra stuff to be able to use without having to solely rely. I mean, there were teams that literally you would call a figure an ID battery. So you're not even using it because of its sole purpose of the dial itself. You're using it because of its point value, how hard it is to KO the figure, and you're honestly just using it to call in multiple characters off of your sideline. So without that being in the game anymore, it's a completely different game. And yeah, I think ID cards, they've run their course. You had the Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you had the World's Finest that were great ID cards. The X-Men ID cards I thought were great as well. They were different. But yeah, I mean, you literally, if WizKids wanted to, they could continually make ID cards, but the mechanic is just, I think, old. And it just makes for stale kind of gameplay. You know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe 5 years down the road they could reintroduce them, but maybe they would have to change them a little bit to make them less OP, I guess.
Or just less of what we've come to know. I mean, you're going to play a figure like Immortal Hulk, and you're not going to use Immortal Hulk the way he's supposed to be played. You're going to use him just because he's a high point value and he can call in basically anything off of an ID card. So he's not even going to be used for his dial. He's just used because of what he can bring in from the sideline.
Yeah, so I agree with that because it kind of goes against the spirit of the game a little bit. You'd want to take into account like the actual characters themselves. Like what would Hulk do in a battle? Yeah. Like you wouldn't sit there and.
Well, I mean, the character itself is very representative of the character from the comic books. It is very representative of Immortal Hulk. He keeps coming back. He's hard to KO. But that also fits into the play of, yeah, he's a great ID battery because I don't have to worry about him dying. And I can continually keep bringing stuff in off of a sideline. So, yeah, it is a strategy. And the figure is built very representative of the character. But to play him optimally, you play him because he's a good ID battery. And that's just the way that the game was at that point in time. Will we see Immortal Hulk get played correctly? I guess correctly, or like the way that the design was supposed to be made? Probably. Like he'll have to adapt into what was meant on the drafting table.
No, I think I've seen some good teams already out there with just Hulk being Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's definitely a viable piece. But I mean, so for you personally, Aries, how did you first start getting into like podcasting, streaming, and stuff like that?
It's weird. So, I do the dishes here at the house. It was one of those things that when I moved in with my now wife, I was like, "Yep." She's like, "I hate doing dishes." I said, "Not a problem. I'll do the dishes, no issue." So I have an Instagram page, and it was weird because I created the Instagram page and it was called Joey Dishpan Hands, and I would go on Instagram and I would literally just wash dishes, and I would talk to people all over the world about anything, I had a couple thousand followers, and I would just talk, and then eventually people just I don't know if I was doing it I was washing dishes at the wrong time, but viewership was down. And so my wife was like, well, why don't you go on one of the Facebook pages and just like wash dishes and talk about Heroclix, because you know you're going to get people who are going to want to talk Heroclix. So I did. I went on HIE and I started doing the dishes and just talking with people about Heroclix, and it snowballed from there. And I was asked to be on a few podcasts. I was on, I think the first couple podcasts I was on Clicked Off, I was on Shots Fired, a couple others, and then Aaron Cantu approached me and asked me if I wanted to be on Two Clicks from KO full time with him, and I was like, absolutely. I did a year with him, but in the meantime, I was still doing the dish talk stuff that I would do on HIE and stream live, and I enjoy streaming live compared to recording stuff, just because you can have that interaction with people right there. They can ask you something, and it can just snowball into a whole nother conversation. So you can start talking about one thing in Heroclix, and then it just snowballs into, I don't know, maybe you're talking about the Snyder cut of Justice League that's going to be coming out. So, and then that snowballs back into, well, what figures from that movie would you want to see in Heroclix? And then that's, so you can literally have an hour conversation, and it never feels forced, and it never feels, it's just this completely fluid conversation. And it's like talking to people just one-on-one, but you're doing it in a live setting. So that's why I kind of branched out and started doing the live videos on YouTube to try and get viewers there and have the same conversations that I did over on the Facebook pages as well. So, and we'll just continue to keep growing and seeing what people want to do and go from there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, so where do you get the name? So your name, Aries Edge. Where does that come from? Like, is that?
So, surprisingly, I'm from New England, and I'm very mouthy, and I don't often back down from confrontation, either verbally or whatever. Like, if someone's going to say something, I'm going to speak my piece. And I think I was at a tournament, and I used to play Ares a lot. I used to play the DC, the Legacy Ares a lot.
Okay.
And I don't know, I got into some sort of a verbal back and forth with someone, and the guy was just like, do you want to go to war? You think that, you're the good, and I was just like, well, I do play Ares a lot, so no problem. And then from that point on, I'm also straight edge, so Ares and the edge go together, and it was my handle. So back before NECA bought WizKids and Topps had it, they had their own forum system and everything like that, and they had their own like judges program, and that was what my login was. It was Aries Edge, and I was like a level 4 judge. Back then, you had to take tests to actually get qualified to be a judge. It wasn't just like, yeah, anybody can judge. Like, they had an online test. You had to do the test, and if you passed it, you were like it had to be sponsored by other judges and stuff too. So it wasn't just like anybody could go there. Someone had to sponsor you, and then you would take the test, and if you passed it, you were a level 1 judge, and you could take more and more tests and run more and more events.
I thought you still had to do that. Do you still have to take? You don't still have to take a test to be a judge?
No, I mean, I think The Rock was doing something like that, where you could take the test through The Rock to be a Rock certified judge. But for WizKids, you're not considered a judge. You're considered a volunteer. So when you go into the Win, each store has a list of what they call volunteers, and those volunteers are the ones that are judging the events. There's no actual like test or anything like that you have to pass to run a WizKids event. In some places, the staff who are running, like the staff who are at the events, will just run the events and volunteer themselves, and maybe have some of their players that know the rules make rulings for them. I've been to some tournaments where they had no judge to start, and somebody was just like, "I'll volunteer to help out." So there's no real like set like, "Hey, here's the test. You have to pass this test to be a certified WizKids judge." I mean, even the people that go to like nationals and the world championships, they're volunteers. Granted, WizKids takes the time to really pick their judges and volunteers specifically. I mean, they have some of the best minds: Jay Solomon, Brian Galley, Aaron Constantine Morgan, Anthony Barnstable, the Peters, Jeremiah Peterson, Rob Peterson. They have Brandon Chastain. They have a number of outstanding judges, and those are all guys that know the rules inside and out. So it's not like they're just plucking people from wherever they want to run these events. These guys, they know their stuff.
Yeah. So, all right. So this is something you've said before on Facebook. I've seen this. So I mean, JLU just came out, right? And we're still in the stage of kind of like really high pricing, like pre-release pricing and stuff like that. And I've seen you say this before, like shut it and move it along or something like that, right?
Enough, move it along.
Move it along, right? So I mean, for you, like, how long do you wait to buy singles, like in general?
Me personally, I mean, I won't buy pre-release stuff. I mean, I'll go and I will support stores and I will play in pre-release events, but I won't pay pre-release prices. Like even right now, we are just seeing product hit the market, and you're still seeing stuff out there that is going for like top dollar, like stuff that's like 45. Dark Side is still going for like 45. I don't think he's gonna stay that high. I think he'll settle probably around 25, maybe 30. But even like on eBay, I check eBay all the time, and I'm starting to see people who are selling some of the super rares for like $11, $12, and I'm like, okay, that seems reasonable. That's where it's gonna go. But I think it was like one of my first live videos that I did on HIE. I just had enough. People were posting up stuff, and then you would get trolls that would come on, and they would like pick fights with people about their prices. And I want to say it might have been Jason Keem from Team Pusheen. He had posted something up, and he was getting a whole lot of flack. And I literally just had a meltdown. And it wasn't just shut up and move it along. It was a lot of expletives. And like, nobody needs your 2 cents. Nobody needs, like, no one, if you don't like the price, just shut up and go. You don't need to stop in on that person's post and then like poke at them and be like, oh, you're just like, you don't need to do that. Just shut up and go. No one needs your 2 cents. No one needs your opinion on what you think this figure should go for, or what this figure should go for. It's going to be something that's going to happen all the time. People are always going to complain about pre-release prices, convention exclusive prices. But the fact of the matter is that if people are going to pay that amount for a figure, that's what it's worth. People
the market decides the price.
Yeah, people like to complain and say, oh, well, WizKids does this and WizKids. No, they don't. We do it. We determine what the secondary market value is. If I want to pay $40 for a figure and you think it's only worth $20, okay, that figure is worth $40 to me. It may only be worth $20 to you, and you may have more patience than me, and you might find it in 2, 3, 4 weeks for that price. But the market value is set by people who make purchases. We set what the market value is.
No, I get caught up in that sometimes. I tend to get caught up in the whole pre-release thing. I mean, I don't. I try not to spend too much as far as like going on the secondary market, but like, okay, so like if I find a price that I think is not gonna settle a lot lower than it is now, like Like one thing I bought pre-release that actually worked out in my favor, I feel like, was the Chase Thor from Captain America and the Avengers. So I got that piece for like $80. So
And that's probably what it's going to settle at.
and
So that's a good purchase.
yeah, it was a good purchase, and I got it early, but I mean I was able to get a good deal on it, and I was like, well, that's probably going to settle around that price. Right now, I think it's on Troll and Toad for like 130. So
Yeah, if people who use Troll and Toad or cool stuff, like stop doing that. Like they're not setting the prices for us. They're setting the prices because they're a business and they probably spent X amount of dollars to get that figure, and they're gonna mark it up so they can make a profit. Like go to eBay, filter the search, and go to what has actually sold and see what people are actually purchasing it for on eBay. Troll and Toad and cool stuff, I feel isn't as accurate as it should be because they're going to mark stuff up to make a profit. I mean, at Worlds last year, they had stuff marked up $20 higher than what they were listing it on their website because they knew that they had figures in hand that people would want to buy, and they didn't honor what their online store price was. It was like, nope, we know that people are going to want this. They're going to need it here. We're going to kick it up even 20 more bucks. Here it is. We have it in hand. You don't have to wait for it to be shipped. So they're not as reliable, in my opinion, as they should be.
well, you know, as far as like the secondary market goes, like I'm always trying to get friends of mine into the game. You know, I'm trying to spread the game as much as I can. You know, and you know, friends that live around me, you know, that I think would be into this kind of stuff. So I'm always, you know, I would say, hey, let's get together. I'll teach you how to play, right? And I teach them how to play. But you know, I'm trying to get them into the game. If you're trying to get somebody into the game, and or somebody that you know is thinking about getting into the game, like where do they go to buy their first Heroclix, like start their collection? Like how do you do that? Do you buy like lots on? You know, one time when I was first starting, I bought a lot from eBay with like random figures.
Yeah.
Horrible idea, I thought. But then there was also, you know, you can also get a CUR. I might recommend that to people, like maybe a CUR of like ABPI is a great set. So that CUR alone by itself would be a great starting point for a player. You know, but also, you know, I know you could buy starters in Fast Forces, which is great for, like, what do you recommend? Where do you recommend new players go to start their collection?
The first thing I would do is I would have them pick a good starter, and we have two of probably the better ones. I mean, shit, we probably have three of the even better ones that we've seen in a while. Batman the Animated Series was a really good starter. It came with maps, so you're getting everything basically you need. You're getting figures and you're getting maps to play. The JLU, same thing. You're getting really good figures and you're getting maps. And then Cosmic Clash, you figures as long as you can get maps with them. So you're getting figures and maps. And they're good figures too. I mean, we've seen some stinkers. You know, I'm sorry. Sorry, Runaways, but you were not a good Fast Forces. So grab something. It's going to be a little more expensive, but you're also going to get some good maps with it. Even Earth X was pretty good, and it had good maps in it. So I would suggest getting something, or even I know, and I'm an admin on the page, but I know HIE still does free Clicks Fridays sometimes. So if you're getting into the game, there are people who are willing to dump commons, uncommons, just bulk stuff over to you as long as you pay the shipping. And it's something that you can at least get a good group of things that are even modern just to play around with. And if it's something that you enjoy, okay, cool. This is a game that I want to invest some money in. Now I can go ahead and start researching what other higher end figures I want to get. But I mean, if you were to go onto any of the Heroclix pages and say, hey, I'm new to the game, I want to get, you know, a bulk lot of just, you know, some trial figures from some of the newer sets, there are people out there that will probably just be like, yep, Go ahead and give me $15 on PayPal, and I will ship you 30, 40 figures. Just to cover the shipping,
That's on
because
HIE. People do that, you think, or
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
so for
There are
the
people.
for the people that don't know, HIE stands for Heroclix International Exchange,
Yep.
and that's a Facebook group, and they do trading and selling of Heroclix figures,
Yep.
and just generally Heroclix related content. So
Yep. I mean, if it's like the newer set, I've seen who was it? J Major, I think, has an entire common and uncommon rare set of the brand new Justice League. And I think he had it for like $45 on eBay.
oh wow,
So you're getting almost the entire set of stuff for $40, which is 4 boosters. So you're getting way more value. I mean, granted, yes, you might pull a chase or whatever, but if you're just looking, all right, like $40, I can throw $40 at something and get entire comic on, a common uncommon rare set and play around with it. And if it's something I like, I can invest in it. If not, it's only $40. So there are some stuff. If you have the patience, you can find it out there.
so are you a fan of the sealed product, or like would you buy sealed product, or
I do. I always buy sealed from my local gaming store. I always try to at least buy. I mean, if it's DC, I usually buy a case, and then after that, I will cherry pick through and trade amongst the community to try and fill in any of the holes that are in my collection. But yeah, I always buy, if it's Marvel. I mean, I think the Dark Phoenix Saga, the new Colossal set, I bought a case of that from my local store to support them, one, but also because I knew it was going to be a really strong set. So, but yeah, I'll usually buy a brick or a case, and then afterwards I'll backfill some of my stuff. But again, it's also depending on whatever the climate is in the world at the moment. So I know, like Rebirth, I just didn't have the money to do it, so I ended up piecing together a common uncommon rare set, and then kind of cherry picked through and found a couple super rares that I wanted from that set. And I'm a DC guy, so I usually am very much a completionist when it comes to DC sets.
okay, yeah, no, I'm a Marvel guy, but well, I like DC though, but I actually am starting to get more into DC lately, and I mean, like when the JLU came out, I binge watched the entire JLU series, and I got to know the characters a little bit more because I don't know enough about DC in order to dislike them. I just,
Yeah.
but getting more into the DC universe, I do enjoy both. I enjoy both Marvel and DC, but so um yeah, for me, I usually buy a case, and then I cherry pick as well. After I'm done after I'm done with the case, I see what I'm missing, and I'll get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. After I try to get a case for the set if I can fund it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what do you think is like if you had to pick between sealed play and competitive play, what would you pick? I mean, not
I like
constructed
sealed.
or constructed or sealed.
I like sealed. Um, well, let me rephrase it. I'll play either. I like sealed just for the fact that it draws bigger crowds to my store. And where I'm at, people enjoy traveling and they enjoy sealed more. And again, it might just be the luck of the draw. It might just be the stigma that in their minds, it's a little more of a leveler playing field. But also for the last year or two, you kind of know what you're going up against when you go to a constructed event. You're going to have teams that are going to be a bunch of colossal retaliators. They're going to be ID cards, and sometimes it's just overwhelming, and it's just too many moving parts for them, and they don't want to play the same team 2-3 times. So they would rather prefer to, one, get new product in their hands and be able to have that exhilarating feeling of, I get to pop open boosters and see what I get, and then try and mix and match, and you get to play stuff that you know that you're probably not going to play after that tournament. It's going to get kicked to the wayside because you're going to build competitive stuff. So yeah, I enjoy going to sealed events. I feel like for me it's more fun that way. You don't know what you're having, and then on top of it, you don't have to lug a whole bunch of stuff with you either. Like, I feel bad for Lucas Tom Van Hollen. That guy's carrying around 9 Tri Sentinels to tournaments and stuff. Like, that's outrageous, man. Like, I know that you're putting together the team, but damn, like, you have to put together, like, you have to have one of those Christmas vacation or holiday vacation station wagons just jammed full of Tri Sentinels and stuff to go to events. So nah, just a little dice bag and some tokens, and all right, I can go play Clix. I'm good.
Yeah, no, I know. I remember my first experience at a big major event was PAX Unplugged. It was Worlds 2018, and just bringing my team and my pieces to the event, and then checking all my pieces in with the judge was like very nerve wracking.
It was time consuming too. That was my first Worlds event for quite some time. I played at a Wizard World East long time ago, back when Legacy was still legal. But yeah, sitting down and making sure that you had all your ID cards, and I mean, then looking at the team, I'm like, I have so much stuff here, like just so many. I have 8 figures for the map, and I've got like 6 on the sideline, and it was just so much stuff. It's yeah. And then driving from Connecticut to Philadelphia, and then dragging it through the convention center, it's like, holy cow. It was, yeah. I had fun the first day because the first day I had to drag all that stuff with me because I had to play in Team Worlds, which was sealed, and then I had to try, if I didn't finish high enough, which I finished 1 place out to qualify, then I had to go and play in the last chance qualifier, just carrying stuff all day. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Just dragging it all through downtown Philadelphia as well.
So do you play a lot of casual Clix, or like
I do.
You play at Sarge's in Connecticut, right? Or
Yeah.
so do you guys have like a casual like Wednesday or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We usually, well, right now it's everything's up in the air, but before that we were playing on Wednesday nights. I would get together some people. We would get like 3, 4, 5 people together to play, and it wouldn't be super competitive. And now when we were gearing up to, I brought a group of people with me to Philadelphia for Worlds. Wednesdays would be our playtesting nights. So we would get together, we would play test our team, stuff like that. And then also we would play on Sundays. Sundays would be Sundays is set for the days that we do all of our WizKids Opens and rock events and stuff like that. But also it's when we do our sealed events and we play for op kit stuff and things like that. So that usually draws a crowd. And most of the time too, it's sealed because the guys that show up want to play sealed events just because it's more casual. Plus they're supporting the store and they're getting new product. So
like, based on, so I mean, for as far as like new players, starting their collections, you want to maybe definitely get yourself a starter set is basically what we're saying. As far as the starter sets go, and fast forces and things like that, looking back throughout all the years of Heroclix, what are your favorite starter sets / fast forces?
Oh man, I mean, I liked World's Finest. I thought World's Finest was good because it came with a weapon blocker as well.
What was that? Explain that, because that was before my time a little bit.
So the weapons locker, it was kind of the way it was shaped. Did you ever play the Batman
So
Arkham game?
I started around Superior Foes.
Yes. Did you ever play the video games for like Arkham Asylum and things like that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so in that game, whenever Batman would need something, they would send down like a pod, and they would have like a new gadget in it for him. So the weapons locker was basically, it looked like that. So what you would do is you would assign it to a, basically it would start on the map. You would assign it like a normal game element, and then you would roll a d6, and then every time you would spin the dial to that number, and you would get different powers and abilities that showed on the dial. So it was kind of like almost like pick a power meets uh, our equipment now, but it was random.
It was random.
And
Okay.
it came in the fast forces.
And you could
So
assign
all
that to anybody, or
Batman, I think for Batman it was assigned to him right away for free. I'd have to look it up. And I think if not, you had to pay the points and then pick it up like normal. Let me look it up real fast. Come on. Weapons dial. That's not what I want. It might just be weapon locker. Why can't I find you? Let me just go to the damn world's finest. Because I don't want to misquote it and have someone go back and be like, yeah, you don't even know your own thing.
if you want, you can share your screen if you have it on the screen.
Unfortunately, I have it right on my phone. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted right there. Oh, it's called the weapon drop. Excuse me. So at the beginning of the game, roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled and turn this dial to that click number. Equip. Give a friendly character in this square or holding this object a power action to equip it. Opposing characters can KO this object only by using it in an attack. Effect. Give the equipped character a free action to choose one of the displayed powers. The equipped character can use the chosen power until your next turn. Immediately at the beginning of your turn, roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled and turn the dial to that click number. To place this on the standard character's card, the character can use its effects if the character is KO'd or equipped again, KO this. So yeah, and you can't re-roll. And I think on the Batman card, it gave you, it basically said he can start the game with it. So now on click 1, it gives you what looks like Quake and Pulse Wave. On click 2, it looks like it gives you Close Combat Expert and Enhancement. On click 3, it gives you Exploit and gives you Psychic Blast. On click 4, you get Regen and Defend. On click 5, you get Combat Reflexes or Energy Shield Deflection. On click 6, you get Close Combat Expert and Range Combat Expert. So that other one it's pink. So it's Empower or Enhancement. So it's kind of like a makeshift pick a power type thing.
And that came with the Batman and Superman Fast Forces.
It came with the world's finest Fast Forces.
World's finest. Yes. Okay. Fast Forces.
So that was probably one of my favorites. Plus the figures in it were real good as well. Yes, here it is. Need an equipment drop at my location. When building your force, you may include the weapon drop without paying its cost. So if you played that Batman, you could play the weapon drop without paying the cost of it. So it was just a free object out there for you.
Okay.
So I like the world's finest. The world's finest set, in my opinion, is probably one of the best DC sets they've ever made. The Kingdom Come chases were incredible. The figures that they had in the set were incredible. You had Miss Marvel, you had the world's finest figures. The Batman, the Superman super rares were great. You had the shifting focus, Batman and Superman. It was top to bottom. It was a fantastic set. You had the Metal Men. You had the Doom Patrol. I think were in the set. It was just it was a very solid set. So I like that Fast Forces.
Any other ones that you think stand out, or
Batman the animated series? That I mean, even if you just get it just for the maps, because you have Iceberg Lounge, you have Poison Ivy Greenhouse. The Poison Ivy in that was fantastic. The Penguin that gave you that's a different one. That's not the Batman. Which one is the Penguin from? Where he gives the marker. I don't think that's Batman the animated series. Well, now I just sound like an ass. That was the that was the Joker's Wild Fast Forces that had that Penguin. But the Poison Ivy in that set is great with the biting vines. Batman the animated series, good one as well.
I had on my list. I had of best Fast Forces and starters. Yeah, definitely the Batman the Animated Series starter. That was great. The new ones that just came out, JLU and the Cosmic Clash. Those are wonderful starters. Earth X, because of the Wakanda map.
Yep.
Actually, the other map too, the Iron Avengers map. Those are really good maps with the location bonus. The location bonuses are super fun to use. And then I actually like. There's a couple other ones. I like Mighty Thor, even though it's not legal anymore. But I mean that Hulk is just amazing. From Mighty Thor. Maybe Avengers Infinity because of Giant Girl. But I don't know. That was a fun set. Because then you also had that Hawkeye that Hawkeye's really fun from Avengers Infinity Fast Forces.
Mm-hmm. The one you could draw a line of fire to one square and then off of that square, you could turn corners with it.
Yeah. And then the last one I was thinking about was the Ninja Turtles Unplugged Fast Forces.
Oh, because of Mudman.
And then also maybe the Turtles were fun too. Yeah, and Shredder.
Shredder
was really good. So
going way back, Chaos Wars. Chaos Wars had an amazing starter. That Scarlet Witch from that Fast Forces way back in the day helped win a world championship. Alex Avila used that Scarlet Witch.
So, I mean, based on the last two starters that came out, the Cosmic Clash and the JLU starter, which one do you like better?
Oh, jeez. I mean, put me on a... I mean, I'm a DC guy, so I want to say JLU just because I've played it and it plays really, really well. But I'm going to have to go with the Cosmic Clash just because it's Fantastic Four. We haven't seen Fantastic Four in forever. So to be able to have the Fantastic Four, a new Doom, a new Silver Surfer, new maps, the team abilities have been revamped. I mean, you have the scenarios that are in there as well with the pogs and stuff that are right in the starter set.
Yeah.
I want to give the edge on maps to JLU. I do like the Fantastic Four maps. I think the JLU maps are better. But when it comes to figures and just the power in the figures, the Cosmic Clash is hands down. Having a hypersonicking, pulse-waving Silver Surfer in there with a Doctor Doom and the entire Fantastic Four, that the Cosmic Clash is hands down the winner on that one.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, a lot of people, I don't know if people know this, but the JLU starter also has scenarios. If you go to the website if you go to www.heroclix.com/scenarios
or
something like that, right? If you go there, you could find the JLU scenarios, and they also have pogs that you could print out that go along with the JLU. If you're interested in playing that, I think that's really good. Both of those are really good for like new players, especially the scenarios.
Yeah.
But like which so from the Fantastic Four starter, if that's like your favorite one, I think that's my favorite too. What piece do you think is the standout piece?
Silver Surfer. I love the Silver Surfer. To be able to have somebody who can hypersonic and pulse wave.
So over Doom, you like Surfer over Doom?
Yeah. I think the Doom is good. I think we're going to see a better Doom come out.
That's true, yeah.
So, I mean, as much as I like the Doctor Doom in that set, I still think that we're just scratching the surface on Doom. I think we're going to see, and this is just my speculation, because we have seen these last couple of sets. We had Battle World and a couple Earth X and a couple of these other sets, and major key players from those sets were Fantastic Four, and they just weren't in the sets. So I think that in this Fantastic Four set, we're going to see some of these retconned figures that could have been in those other sets in these sets, which then opens us up to things like God Doom and things like that. I mean, everyone has been barking and wanting, and I mean, you may even see some of them come up as con exclusives. One of the weird things that we saw too is that the figures from the Comic Clash or the Cosmic Clash are all Switch clicks. So obviously that was done on purpose. What do they have in store for these figures to make them Switch clicks? Are we going to get deep cuts? Are we going to get something with this Galactus summer event?
Oh, I'm so excited for Galactus. Yeah.
Like they have plans, and you can see the little breadcrumbs that they have dropped out there for you. So people who are like, oh, Doom could be better, this and that, we're probably going to get a better Doom. Silver Surfer, will we get a better Silver Surfer? Maybe, but this Silver Surfer particularly can hypersonic and pulse wave, and he's got a very small range too.
What do you think is his best starting line?
I mean, what is he, 100, 200, 300?
Yep.
I mean, it depends on how you're playing and what you're playing around him. Obviously, it's easier to put him into a team at 100, but are you going to get as much hit that you want? 200. Obviously, you can then fill in 100 points for your competitive team, and he's still a beat stick. I mean, the best part about the Silver Surfer is that each starting line is unique to a play style, and you can kind of build around each starting line Silver Surfer and probably be successful. The 300-point one, maybe a little harder because that's all you're playing is him. But 200, he's now a one-man army. Can you put stuff around him to protect him? Probably. 100 points, is he still good as a primary or secondary attacker? Absolutely. And you can fill 200 points now around him to make the squad even better. So that's another reason he's a good Swiss Army knife. You can play him differently and still hit hard with him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually excited to play him. I'm excited because of the new keyword possibilities these pieces open up. Like, what are we going to see? I mean, obviously Silver Surfer is cosmic, but you could get creative and build like a Herald team. I know that Human Torch is also a Herald, or you could build a Defenders team. I wonder what other Defenders pieces they're going to come out with in the new set. I mean, also with Doctor Doom, he's Cabal, right? So you could, I'm excited to play these big casual games with like 1,000-point pieces with Illuminati versus the Cabal. It's going to be amazing because Mr. Fantastic is, now the newest member of the Illuminati in Heroclix. So it's going to be fun.
It's but it's also, it might open up competitive play to, I mean, we know you get monsters, you get cosmic, you have Avengers, you have Shield, you have robots now. I mean, you get Spy is now getting some love because of the Black Widow. it would be nice to see like Defenders and have it shift away from your mainstream Justice League and your mainstream Avengers or Shield, and maybe I don't know the Defenders get some love and they get a whole bunch. Maybe Fantastic Four finally start getting some love again, and you start seeing some Spider-Mans and some She-Hulks and stuff like that that have the Fantastic Four keyword, and they become a powerhouse again.
Yeah.
So everything's up in the air, especially with everything going on in the world right now. WizKids has been quiet, a little more quiet than they had been before the pandemic. They were on social media. They were doing unboxings. They were down in their basement, showing us product. And then, the pandemic kind of hit. And obviously we all had to take a step back and quarantine and try and be safe and healthy. And WizKids they've been very transparent when it came to their tournaments and, hey, we're going to cancel, Q2 and Q3, and very transparent with what they're planning on doing. But when it comes to like their previews and things like that, they have been very quiet. Like we haven't seen much from the Fantastic Four previews anymore. We haven't heard much about the Maximum Carnage set and things like that. They were giving us a whole bunch of info and then it just stopped. Well, so it kind of leaves us hanging there like, hey, what else are we going to get?
I actually like that because I like Captain America and the Avengers when that came out. Pretty much almost every piece in that set was previewed before the actual set came out. And then like once you go to open your brick or whatever, you're like, okay, I know what I'm getting,
Yeah.
But like in this case, if not everything is previewed ahead of time, it's a little bit of more. It creates a little more of element of surprise, and
Absolutely.
I feel like it's more enjoyable that way to open up sealed product.
I mean, it's a catch-22 because if it's stuff that you want to market, you want to show fans, hey, this is why you should buy the product because we've been listening and we put this figure in there and we put that figure in there. Like you don't want your sales to fall flat on the first week and then people start posting up pictures of, oh, hey, this is in the set, and then your sales spike again. You kind of want to, chum the water a little bit and show your best stuff, and then maybe you slyly put in a little this, little that. But right now, we know really what 4 or 5 figures from the Fantastic Four set because they showed us the Super Skrull sculpt and they showed us a couple other sculpts, but we really don't know what dials look like or anything like that.
Right, yeah, or what kind of game elements are going to be in the set. I'd like to see an Ultimate Nullifier as an equipment.
Or even have that in the summer op because it is Galactus. Yeah. Maybe you see some more, weapons and things like that in the summer op with Galactus and whatever might be coming with the summer op play. So
Aries, do you have any final words or things you want to say to the fans of Coffee and Clix and Dishin Up Clix?
Real quick, thank you to John Waters for this behind me. John sent me that awesome tapestry, the old Starro 2007 event tapestry. That's going to be probably in all the videos that I do. Also, Dishin Up Clix, we have, goodness gracious, Critical Hits Customs is donating. Jeremiah Peterson is donating a tray. We already are getting in stuff from Majestics. We're going to be getting in some stuff for Rock. We're holding Dishin Up Clix and some of the Dish crew writers, Aaron Constantine Morgan being one of them, is helping me put together a charity event. 100% of the proceeds of this event are going to go to mental health awareness and suicide prevention. We have my wife is looking into some of the charity that we're going to donate to. I think I already did announce the charity that we are donating to, but I don't remember what it is. It might be Mental Health Connecticut. We did suffer a loss here in the Northeast with a player taking their own life. And with everything going on in the world right now, we need to kind of, I don't know, be looking out for one another and just checking in with one another to make sure that we all are doing okay, because this is just a weird time and a very uh, dangerous time, I guess, with the amount of lack of social networking and being out in the public, and people having to be quarantined at home, and they may be in bad situations or whatever the case may be. But so we are going to be putting together an online event, and 100% of the proceeds are going to mental health awareness and suicide prevention. I believe we have 4 or 5 neoprene maps from Majestics on top of, I think, 40 dice, 40 tokens, 20 deck boxes. Like I said, Critical Hit Customs is putting in some custom tokens. Jeremiah Peterson is putting in a custom tray. And I do also know that The Rock is going to be donating some stuff to it as well. So be on the lookout. We're trying to put together some to give back to the community and to give to a very good cause.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, yeah, I definitely to say to everybody is be kind to one another in Clix and in real life, and I would say definitely I'm gonna be looking out for that online tournament. People should definitely be getting involved in all of the online play that's available right now. So let me know when that tournament goes up or gets started, and I'll definitely look it up because I think that's important. So
Absolutely.
So thank you, Aries, for joining us on Coffee and Clicks, and don't forget, everybody, wake up and smell the clicks, and thank you a lot for talking with us. It was a great conversation.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.